How's it going, guys? Deeds here, and welcome to an informed Shane Long player review. Now, I've got to say, before we get into this, I was really excited picking up this guy because Shane Long has always been one of those guys for me. He's cheap, a nice striker to stick in your squad, and I always tend to use him at the start of FIFA, so getting an inform of him was, it was interesting to say the least. I didn't know what was going to come out of it. In 6 games, I scored 9 goals, paid 27k for this guy, and obviously, I lost a couple k, but that's just to be expected with FIFA. You're going to lose some coins when you're picking up players like this because the prices will go down. So if you really do want to wait just a little bit, he will be slowly going down a bit more. But let's get into just talk about this guy. First off, straight off the bat, the first thing you will notice is the fact he's got some decent pace on him. From a nice cheap striker, sorry, he has pace. He's got some decent pace on him, and I did notice it in game quite a bit. Another thing to point out as well, that he is pretty good with strength. Now, you see a lot here. I do end up making runs and just knocking the players away. Fortunately, managed to get a penalty here and just managed to pick in a goal there, which I felt was deserved by Shane Long, because that was something I noticed happened to me quite a lot. I was making some incredible runs with him, but it came to the point where I just had to finish the run, and not all he was really 50-50 when doing it. Sometimes he'd miss the shot, which was kind of annoying. Sometimes I'd get unfortunate enough to have the ball taken away from me. But I've got to say that the main thing as well is I wasn't too sure about his shooting. It was a bit iffy for me. One thing you will notice later on I'll talk about is his free kick accuracy isn't all that great, but for me his shooting was a bit iffy. There were so many times where I was making great runs, taking shots at goal, and it was either going wide, hitting the bar, hitting whatever, it just wasn't going in, which it is frustrating for a guy that can absolutely pace it away from players, and when they do catch up to him, knock him away and still keep going. You kind of just want him to be able to finish the ball. It's frustrating to say the least. I made some absolutely cracking runs with him, just like those just there, and it's a little bit frustrating in games to have that kind of spoiled. So that was something that was a bit frustrating, but other than that, he is a really decent player. I actually had a lot of fun using this guy. Great player to have in your teams for when you want a cheap player. But if you take a look at the in-game stats, he's got 81 aggression, 80 attack positioning, 85 acceleration, 96 jumping, 85 sprint speed, 87 stamina, and 81 strength. So some pretty decent stats here. But again, the next page is where I got a bit confused. Like, there was so many interesting stats there. 81 penalties is the only one that stands out there. A lot of them fairly decent ones, but to bear in mind out of everything is the fact that this guy, for me, he's always that cheap, decent striker. You can't expect a lot of him. He is only 78 rated, so I didn't want to be too harsh to the guy. But overall, pace, dribbling, strength, and heading were the main things. I didn't touch on heading a lot, but he has got some incredible jumping stats, so that is something to point out. I didn't get to do a lot of heading with him, so I didn't really want to focus on it too much, because I don't know firsthand, but looking at his stats, I could expect that he'd be pretty decent. The only things, as I mentioned earlier, I want to point out, his passing isn't great, so I made him a target man. I recommend, if you're going to stick him in your squad, make him the target man. Don't have him pass into other players, because a lot of time it will mess up. Free kicks as well. I believe he's got 32 free kick accuracy. That, for me, is not the kind of thing I want. I want my strikers to have a decent amount of accuracy with their free kicks, just so I know that I can take it with them and get it in. Obviously, I know not every striker is going to score every free kick, but I would like them just to have a little bit more with their free kicks. So for me, that was a little bit of a letdown. Overall, I'm going to be rating this guy a 6 out of 10. I know it may seem a little bit low, but the main thing to point out about this guy is he's a nice cheap striker. I would highly recommend, if you don't want to pay the 20 plus K, you can pick him up for like 400 coins for his non-rare version, so I'd highly recommend going there just in case you didn't want to spend the extra amount. Otherwise, you know, he's definitely a nice cheap striker to stick in your squad, so that is really all I can say about him. If you did enjoy the video though, be sure to drop a like. I really appreciate that. If there is someone else you guys want me to review from this week's Team of the Week, let me know in the comment section below. If you're brand new around, be sure to subscribe. Apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.